Yo, what's up? This is DJ Spryte, and welcome to Behind the File, NAMM edition. Today we have a very special Behind the File coming to you live from the NAMM show here in Anaheim, California. Today's guest is one of the biggest remix DJs in the country, and he was also a personal influence on me when I was coming up as a producer. He's worked with names like Katy Perry, Henry Fong, Khalid, and Alan Walker, just to name a few. So let's head on down to Pangea Matrix Studios here in Orange County to check out my man, DJ Kue. Yo, what's up, man?
What's up, man? How you doing?
Good to see you, man. Good to have you here, man. Down in Orange County for the NAMM show.
Yeah.
Beautiful place to be. I guess let's just jump right into it. Where did you come up with the name Kue? Like, how did that come to be?
So basically, I just looked at DJ mixer. I remember my mom buying me a DJ mixer. Like, it was like a Best Buy, like Realtek or some brand, and it had the word Kue on it. And so, you know,
that was it.
Yeah, that was it. Like, said and done.
Yeah.
Which, you know, came to find out that everybody else had the same idea. But,
really?
Yeah.
It was a bunch of Kues, both.
Yeah.
So I remember when I first started learning production, you were like totally cool enough to let me fly up and sit with you. And you were, you know, one of the people, my original influences. I looked up to you. I loved coming up there. I appreciate you. Much respect for letting me come and sit and like learn from you. Since then, it's been a long time. You know, your styles have developed. You've went through a whole bunch of like different phases and growth. I guess, where would you say you are now? Like, where is Kue style at the moment?
So the crazy thing is, like, I've never really put my sound like as a certain like style or genre. I'm really kind of experimenting with different types of remixes. More specifically, like, I'm really getting into a lot of the slower BPM stuff. Like, I feel like that range is missing, like, with remixes. Like the 100 to like 110.
Sure, yeah.
So like the most recent remix I did, Rockstar, that was 110.
Okay. And you're also getting into doing a lot of your own original music as well. I mean, what kind of, I guess, style are you kind of putting forward in that?
So basically all the tracks that I've been making right now, a lot of my influence, surprisingly, has been what got me into dance music. So a lot of French house, house music, even like funk, disco, like influence.
Sure.
I ended up finishing 5 tracks at the end of the year, and then this year the goal is to find placement while still working, of course, on the remixes, because I mean that's really what got me, you know, into producing and what I enjoy. But at the same time, focusing on original music as well and getting that out into the world and seeing what happens with it.
So I have to say congratulations, because I saw recently you won the Remix Producer of the Year down in Miami. That's awesome, man.
Yeah, no, it was exciting. It was a surreal experience because I got nominated for a couple of awards, and I won Remix Producer of the Year and and Banger.
The Banger one, yeah.
Award. I forget which artist presented which award, but it was Audien and Martin Garrix that presented me the awards.
So what song was the banger? Which one would you have?
The Cake by the Ocean remix.
And all those remixes, so you got the Cake by the Ocean, and then was there a specific track for the Remix Producer of the Year that was kind of encompassing?
No, that was just like encompassing. Okay. So the other remix that I got nominated for, I forget what category it was, but it was my Justin Bieber, Sorry.
Nice.
It was those 2 individual remixes and then the general like.
Nice.
Yeah.
And both of those are on DMS?
Yes.
I'll go check those out right now.
Body's in the beat. I'm over my feet.
So I have to ask, you've done so many massive projects with so many big name artists like Katy Perry, Henry Fong, Khalid, recently Alan Walker. Out of all that experience of working with all those amazing artists, do you have any like certain moment that sticks out as like really memorable? Like,
I honestly, the BPM plays on Sirius XM. Like my first ever remix, my Britney Spears "Till the World Ends," like that got in rotation at BPM for a bit. And then when I got an email saying, "Oh yeah, we're putting your Alan Walker remix in full rotation," like I was stoked and blown away, because that remix was special to me, because that remix I actually did have going with an idea. I'm a really big fan of guitar solos, and so for that remix, I have a segment towards the end where it's essentially a guitar solo. That, it's not an actual guitar, it's just a synth run through an amp, but it sounds like a guitar. So that was like a cue vision of like a remix where I'm like, oh, this would be really cool to have this outro where it's like a guitar solo outro before then like the regular mixable dry beats outro. And then for that to be in rotation was real special to me.
So yeah, it's good you brought up like the BPM and the radio plays. I mean, I listen to BPM all the time. I always, hear your stuff and I'm like, oh, it's Q, the boy. But I know you also DJ and you work locally on radio, Wild 949. How has that, played a part in your career? Like, can you tell us a little about that?
Yeah, so radio to me is still an important factor. It forces me to keep up to date with what is relevant in pop music. It's important to really pay attention what's happening with music, not only with like pop radio, but then like kind of going even broader, like with me, like when my focus is like dance music. So like I'll pay attention to like the Beatport charts. I'll pay attention to like the Spotify dance charts, Apple Music, all that, Shazam. Kind of see what people are listening to, because even though like you might not make that style, like you're gonna be influenced in one way or another by that sound.
All right, so wouldn't be Behind the File if we didn't talk a little bit about like technology and some of the tools you're using as part of your trade. Are you still working with Ableton?
Yes.
Perfect. That's Ableton.
Yeah, it's Ableton. That's really all I can say.
It's Ableton.
Yeah, it's Ableton.
Yeah, there you go. Is there any kind of like in the cut, plugin or something that maybe you use all the time that you highly recommend? That's like, this is great. You should check this out.
Yeah. So if you really want to get into sound design, or just kind of like jump in with something that has really great presets, like Serum is great.
Yeah.
Serum is like the Swiss Army knife of like synths.
Sure.
You can make anything with Serum. More importantly, like when you're trying to learn how to produce, there's so many YouTube tutorials on creating a gauntlet of sounds, whatever you're trying to look for, and the majority, I'd say now, are with like using Serum. So if I had to pick one plugin that I'm a new producer, I'm gonna buy a plugin, I would buy a Serum. Because I get this question a lot, so I figured I would touch on it. Like a lot of people ask me like about my mastering chain. So the one limiter that I use frequently is Invisible Limiter by AOM. And without getting too technical, essentially it helps you get to competitive levels that you typically find on Beatport and all these other like dance tracks. You still have to finesse it a certain way. You can't just like slap it on and like just like crank it.
Yeah.
But for me, typically like when I master, I produce using like light compression, which in Ableton would be the glue, but I go back farther than that. Before they bought the glue, so I use like the original glue.
Yeah.
But I still use that just because that's what I know.
Been using forever.
Yeah, exactly. Forever.
Yeah.
Then after that, I do some light multiband compression, which you can use pretty much any multiband compressor. My bread and butter is just Vengeance multiband compressor. Like next step is like super important that I learned from Luca Pretolesi, which is like this dude does master. He's the one who does all the major laser mastering, all these big pop artists out of Vegas. I add another limiter that like clips the track just a little bit, and basically what that does, it controls the transient so you can push it louder. I do that, and then after that, I mono the low end, so like 200 hertz and below just for club systems. And then the last thing is just Invisible Limiter, and then I can pretty much hit like big room house levels like effortlessly.
Really?
So a lot of that also, what's important like with your mastering chain is that the mix in the track is important. The proper mix, the proper
Sure.
EQ. Yeah, I could probably go on and on and on, but we don't want to make this a 2-hour video.
No, that was some golden advice there. I'm gonna watch this back, get the limiter, and hit those big room levels, and you should too. That was awesome.
And the music takes me back to when I'm with you.
So I wanted to ask, like when you're listening to music from other people or even like big records, is there anything that like bothers you or any kind of pet peeve you might have when you're listening to other people's stuff?
So it's crazy because like it's not so much listening to the track itself, but the what I've run to in the past is that people get very angry at you when they come asking for constructive or for comments and feedback on a track.
Sure.
And the one thing that I always tell producers that's important, that's really important when you're learning how to produce, is take as much feedback as you can, whether they're criticizing your track or actually providing valuable feedback, and don't take it to heart, because really, as a producer, these are your growing pains. This is how you learn.
Yeah.
And so whenever someone reaches out to me to give feedback, I always have to state that, like in the beginning, like I'm gonna give you constructive criticism.
Sure.
Like don't be offended by what I tell you. Like this is to help improve your song. But yeah, I think what's important is accept the constructive criticism, the feedback, and then don't be afraid to ask for it, because that's the only way you'll improve.
How you feeling so good? How you feeling so good?
Well, hey, I wanna thank you for being here today, and congrats on all your success, man. You've been killing it, and
Thank you.
check out my man Q. One of my favorite producers, an all-around great guy. You can catch all of his music right here on DMS. He even does exclusive remixes just for DMS that you can't find anywhere else. So make sure you go check that out. And is there any place they can find additional information on you or anything online that you want?
Yeah, you can check me out at djkue.net. That's djkue.net. And the next exclusive that I'm working on for DMS, and I'm putting this out there because it's more of a challenge to myself, is Bruno Mars's Finesse, which that song is amazing. Like I love that song.
Yeah, it's a good one.
And so that's kind of more of a production challenge to me because the song's dope to begin with. So yeah, look out for that on DMS soon.
Awesome. I'm gonna be looking out for it. You should too. All right, we're gonna get back to some work here.
That's what we do.
We want to send a huge shout out to DJ Kue for sitting down and talking with us today. Also, for any of your file, bootleg, edit, or remix needs, check out directmusicservice.com. Also, hit the links below to check out Matrix Studio Sessions and Pangea Studios right here in Orange County, California. They have some amazing classes on learning how to produce, so definitely check that out. And until next time, I'm gonna hit the NAMM floor and see some of this new gear. Peace.